The other big conflict that's taking place around the world, the Israel-Gaza and the Israel-Hezbollah conflict, where there is now a ceasefire in place that is expected to now last for 60 days. Israel has approved a U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement with Lebanon's Hezbollah, setting the stage for an end to nearly 14 months of fighting linked to the ongoing war in the Gaza Strip. Remember, this is only the Lebanon bit where fighting has now stopped because of ceasefire. The Israel-Hamas war continues. But importantly, as the ceasefire was being announced, Israeli warplanes kept up the most intense wave of strikes in Beirut and its southern suburbs since the war in fact began. Now, what are the details of this ceasefire? When is it likely to now come into force, and for how long will it go on? What is the impact of this on the other war front that Israel continues to fight on, which is with Hamas and several others? What happens to all of those questions? You find answers to in this report. Take a look.
An uneasy calm prevails over Lebanon after more than 2 months of intense bombings and killings. In a big relief to the Lebanese people, who have seen more than 3,500 of their relatives die since last year, Israel and Lebanon-based militant group Hezbollah reached a US brokered ceasefire agreement to put an end to hostilities for 60 days. Displaced Lebanese families celebrated ahead of the possible announcement of a ceasefire, breathing a collective sigh of relief.
انبسطنا كثير وفرحنا والمدرسة احتفلت فينا. الله يحفظ مدرسة المرجان وطيار المستقبل اللي حضننا بأحسن استقبال وما قصر بواجباتنا أبدا. نشكرهم من كل قلبنا، مبسوطين لأن نحن راجعين على بلدنا على وطننا بالجنوب.
The sentiment did not echo on the Israeli side, as some displaced families said that they are disappointed with the ceasefire deal. While bombardment has driven 1.2 million Lebanese people from their homes, Israel says it has killed more than 2,000 Hezbollah members. On the other hand, Hezbollah's frequent rocket attacks forced some 50,000 Israelis to evacuate in the country's north. At least 75 people have been killed, more than half of them civilians. More than 50 Israeli soldiers have died in the ground offensive in Lebanon. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel will respond strongly to any violation of the ceasefire with Hezbollah.
חיזבאללה יפר את הפסקת האש לא רק אם הוא יירה עלינו, הוא יפר את ההסכם גם כשהוא ינסה להתחמש כדי לירות עלינו בעתיד. על כל הפרה שלו נגיב בעוצמה.
As the sides came to terms to pause fighting, US President Joe Biden termed the ceasefire as good news and warned against violation of the truce deal.
Let me be clear. If Hezbollah or anyone else breaks the deal and poses a direct threat to Israel, then Israel retains the right to self-defense consistent with international law, just like any country when facing a terrorist group pledged to that country's destruction.
Israeli troops began a land invasion of Lebanon almost 2 months ago, after almost a year of rocket attacks from Hezbollah. While the ceasefire deal signals an end to a brutal conflict in West Asia, the region remains on edge as the Israel-Hamas war is far from over, and Tehran's tensions with Israel continue to boil from time to time. With Vishal, Vivek, Bureau Report, NDTV World.
All right, Melissa Weiss, executive editor of the Jewish Insider, joins me from Tel Aviv. Melissa, tell us, what is it that people in Israel are now making of this ceasefire? Are they happy?
Sure. I mean, happy is not really a term that I think anyone would use here. I think Israel is ready. Israelis are ready to return home. Remember, the 50 some odd thousand Israelis who were displaced from their homes in the north on October 8th, 2023, they are ready to go home. But they don't feel confident just yet that this ceasefire will hold and that the different international parties will be able to keep Israel and Hezbollah to the terms of the agreement. So there's kind of a wait and see pattern that we're seeing right now, with Israelis still not ready to go home. Home Front Command, which oversees security issues, not yet saying it is safe for Israelis to return to their homes in the north. And so, like I said, it's a wait and see pattern. We'll see what happens. We know already there was a violation of the ceasefire this morning when Hezbollah came into a village in southern Lebanon that they were not allowed to go into, and Israeli troops fired in response. So it doesn't seem so hopeful that the international peacekeeping forces are able to keep up their end of this. Hezbollah has not shown much of a willingness to keep up with an end to this, and so we'll see what happens.
All right, Melissa, we leave it there. Thanks much for giving us that update.